Welcome! This video is going to introduce using two basic tools to do a self-evaluation of accessibility on a website. First, we're going to look at using Accessibility Insights for Microsoft. Accessibility Insights for Web is published by Microsoft and is available for the Chrome and Edge browsers. If you're using Chrome, you can install it by searching for Accessibility in the Extensions web store and then look for Accessibility Insights for Web. Once we've installed the tool, as we're viewing a web page, we can use the Extensions toolbar to enable Accessibility Insights for Web. When you first do this, you'll be offered three tools: the FastPass, Assessment, and Ad Hoc tools. For the purposes of the self-evaluation I'm asking you to do, you will need the Ad Hoc tools. These offer multiple features that can be turned on or off to visualize parts of the accessibility of your web page. We're going to start by looking at the Landmarks tool. When I turn the landmarks on, it visualizes the ARIA landmarks on this web page. We can see that the top nav bar is contained in a navigation landmark, the main body of the page is in a main landmark, and this sidebar is in a complementary landmark. This is what we expect and what we hope to see. All the navigation elements are contained in navigation landmarks, and then the content is appropriately contained in landmarks as well. Next, we'll take a look at using the tab stop tool. So we'll turn off landmarks and turn on tab stops. When I enable this, nothing is immediately visible. But as I use the tab key to navigate my page, the Accessibility Insights tool will keep track of the locations I've visited and number them with the order that I've visited them in. In this case, we can see that the tab order is proceeding through the navigation links from left to right. Then it proceeds through the links in the body of the document, and then off to the sidebar where it proceeds through the images in a fairly logical order. Again, this is what we are hoping to see, that we progress generally from left to right and from top to bottom in a logical fashion through the document. If I saw the tabs bouncing around within the nav bar or bouncing over to the sidebar before the main body, those would be things that I would probably be concerned about. Now, while examining the tab stops, we're also probably going to want to resize the page or enable the responsive view and make sure that everything still looks sensible when we're in a different screen ratio. In this case, the navigation links have been split up into two rows, but we proceed from left to right in the first row and then the second row. We then proceed through the body of the document and the links in it, and then finally down to the photographs, which have moved to the bottom of the page. The sidebar has become this footer, and we move through those in a logical left to right fashion before moving to the next row. Next, we'll use the Headings tool. When we turn it on, visualizations are added to all the headings in the web page. What we're looking for is that there's an H1 tag and only one H1 tag, and that successive levels of heading are used appropriately. So we have H2s under H1, we have H3 nested under H2, and that we don't skip any levels. Finally, we'll look at the Color tool. When we enable the Color tool, it desaturates all of the colors on the page. Now, very obviously, all of the images went to black and white, but that's not really what we're paying attention to. What we're mostly curious about is, does the site still function if you can't distinguish different colors? Is there enough contrast between text and its background in the body, in our nav bar, and anywhere else on the page a user needs to read the content? We're just making use of those basic features of the Accessibility Insights tool. If you're interested in learning more about it, I encourage you to go back to the Launchpad and check out the full assessment. It's a 24-step process that walks through a much more in-depth accessibility audit that includes examining advanced features like custom controls and multimedia. Finally, we'll look at using Lighthouse to do automated checks of your web page. Lighthouse is a tool that's available in Chrome and Firefox. In Chrome, it should be available as part of the Developer Tools toolbar. In Firefox, you'll have to search in the Extensions Marketplace for it. Alternatively, you can access Lighthouse via the web at web.dev/measure. Type in a URL and run your audit, and the site will load your page to conduct the audit. Now, no matter how you want to make use of Lighthouse, either via this page or running within your browser, you will need to be serving your page up from an actual web server, meaning you can't open up an HTML file directly from your hard drive and ask Lighthouse to analyze it. In this case, I'm doing that. I've got a little test server running that's serving up my sample web page. When I pull up the Accessibility tab, I can ask it to generate a report. I've turned off all the options except for accessibility. I'm not worried about search engine optimization or performance at this point. I just want to know how it does on accessibility. When I hit the generate report, it scans my page and then produces this report. I can see I got a 75 out of 100 on accessibility. And then below that overall score, it lists the problems that were found. In this case, my HTML element does not have a lang attribute, and I've got an image that does not have an alt attribute. If I open that up, it'll show me exactly which element on the page is failing this test. In this case, we can see that the main image on the page does not have a proper alt attribute. I can see there's other tests that I successfully passed and ones that are not applicable to my page because I don't have those specific elements on my page. Between the automated checks of Lighthouse and the manual checks of Accessibility Insights, you should now be ready to do a basic accessibility audit of your web pages.